Welcome back, everybody. This week's Parsha is Parshas Vayakhel Pekudei. Right here in the beginning of the Parsha, it talks about Shabbos, the introduction to the creation of the Mishkan. We've been waiting since Yetzias Mitzrayim to build a Mishkan for the Shechinah to be shruya in Klal Yisrael. Is right here, Parshas Vayakhel Pekudei, the actual building of the Mishkan. And as an introduction to the Mishkan, it talks about Shabbos. And the pasuk says, the third pasuk in the Parsha says, Lo sivaru eish b'chol mosh v'yisechem b'yom Shabbos. This idea that there shouldn't be a fire, you shouldn't be burning a fire on Shabbos, is a very deep idea. Obviously, it's one of the melachos, and actually Rashi over here brings two opinions whether or not it's meant to be a separate law or is meant to identify the different melachos. But there's actually a much deeper idea. And here I'm going to do something a little bit that's uncharacteristic. I'm actually going to end this year right now. The rest of this year that you're going to hear is actually coming from a different shir, a shir that I give in the Sefer Shabbos Malkesa. The Sefer Shabbos Malkesa was written by Rav Shimshon David Pinkus, Zecher Tzadik Levrocha, who wrote an incredible Sefer about appreciating and enjoying Shabbos. And I actually have another podcast called Appreciate and Enjoy Shabbos that goes through this Sefer. I highly recommend everybody listening to it in order to connect to Shabbos better. The rest of this year will be on this topic of this pasuk, Lo sivaru eish b'chol mosh v'yisechem b'yom Shabbos, that you shouldn't light a fire from that shir. I hope everyone enjoys.
Welcome to Real Judaism with Rabbi Klapper. Unfiltered wisdom for Jewish life.
Okay, we're going to start again here in Perek Dalet. I know we did the first paragraph already, but we're going to start again just so we can get the whole picture. I hope we'll get to do the entire Perek today. This Perek brings home a lot of the topics that we've been discussing in Chelek Dalet. Again, the main theme behind Chelek Dalet is Lesle Migarma Klum, meaning that we really aren't anything. We should just be a reflection of Hashem. And the reason why this Perek Dalet, Lo Tivaru Eish, is going to bring it home is because many of the previous prakim are just establishing this foundation of what does it mean that we aren't anything. And the more we cling to Hashem, the more that through us, the vision of Hashem can be seen. Now, what does that have to do with Shabbos? That's why this parak brings this home. Because this parak is what brings out how we can see this on Shabbos. Okay, so we go. V'chein Moshe Rabbeinu alav v'shalom. We're on daf Kuf Peiches Perek Dalet. V'chein Moshe Rabbeinu alav v'shalom. Shaya godol b'Torah mikol Yisrael. Moshe Rabbeinu, who's greater in Torah than all of Klal Yisrael. Mipnei hayoysu onav mikol adam. Because he was that modest person who was more modest than anybody else. So and the words of Hashem came out through his throat, through his mouth. When Moshe Rabbeinu spoke, it was literally the words of the Torah, the words of Hashem. I just saw, to make a side interesting point, I just saw yesterday, I always had this problem. I didn't understand why it had to be that Moshe Rabbeinu had money. What was so important that Moshe Rabbeinu had money? So whenever we had to get up to this in Parshas Kisisa, when it says Psal Lecha, when Moshe Rabbeinu made the second set of luchos, the pasuk says Psal Lecha, and the Gemara darshans that he had to hew the new stones, and they were made out of sapphire. All the extras went to Moshe Rabbeinu. And Rashi says, through this, Moshe Rabbeinu became very rich. I've always thought to myself, who cares? You think Moshe Rabbeinu really cares that he has all this sapphire? What does it mean? It's meaningless to him. Besides the fact that they were in the midbar and there was nothing to buy anyway, what are you doing with all of this? But Moshe Rabbeinu, what's he doing? He has the most precious things in the world. He has that direct relationship with the Rabbeinu Shalom. He has everything. What does he need with some stones? So what, they're worth a lot of money? Why was there such a need for this? So I always had this problem. Always. For many, many years I had this problem. Whenever I'd get up to this Rashi in Parshas kedusha, I never understood why. Why do we care? Why does it make a difference? Yesterday, I thought of an answer for it because I came onto a Gemara in Nedarim. The Gemara in Nedarim says that HaKadosh Baruch Hu only puts his Shechinah on a Navi if the Navi has four things. He has to be a Gibor. He has to be very physically strong. He has to be very, very wealthy. He has to be an Usher. And he has to be a Chacham. He has to be brilliant. And the fourth one is that he has to be an Anaf. Those are the four things. And the Gemara brings psukim, prove it. And when it talks about they have money, and the pasuk that it brings that show that Moshe Rabbeinu they learn all of these things, and all Nevi'im have to be that way. Where do they learn it from? Moshe Rabbeinu. Moshe Rabbeinu had all four. How do you know that Moshe Rabbeinu had money? From that pasuk, psalacha. So I came to this understanding. It's not that Moshe Rabbeinu needed the money. He didn't need the money. What Moshe Rabbeinu needed was to be an onav after he had all of those things. After he had chachma, and after he had ashiris, and after he was a gibor, those are the things that people are running after their whole lives. And really the Marsha says a little bit of this vart. That's what people are running after all their lives. And the Navi has all of those things, and he's still an onav? That's the person I'm putting my Shechinah on. He's still an onav after all that. That's the person I'm putting my Shechinah on. And that's why you see Moshe Rabbeinu as an onav mikol adam. And it's because of that, he understanding of that place that I might have all of these things, but in front of a Kadosh Baruch Hu, I'm a nothing. HaKadosh Baruch Hu uses me as a tool. Whatever you want me to do, I'm going to do. You want me to do this, I'll do this. Huh? Anything you want, I'll do whatever you say. All of these things might bring a person to gaiva. You have this, you're successful in that. It's me. And you're still an onav. And that's why, that's the reason why Moshe Rabbeinu had to have money. He had to have money so that he could be an onav even on that too. And that's what the godless of Moshe Rabbeinu. So come back over here. Kadosh Baruch Hu used Moshe Rabbeinu as a bullhorn. He was the loudspeaker for HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Hine Omru, the Gemara says in Psachim, Kol HaKoyes, Im Chacham Hu Chachmasu Mistaleket Bimenu. Anybody who gets angry, if he has Chachma, he's going to lose his Chachma. Where do we learn it from? From Moshe. Dichtiv Vayiksav Moshe al Pikudei Achayil. That when the Klal Yisrael came back from fighting against Midian, destroying Midian, and they brought back the women when they really should have killed them, Moshe Rabbeinu got very angry. Nexiv, right after that, it says, Vayomer Elazar HaKohen Lo Anshi HaTzava Habayim Lo Melchama Zois Chukas HaTorah Asher Tiva Hashem as Moshe. It brought a halacha, the halacha of Hagalas Kalim, of cleaning the Kalim out. If you have a Kli that has something Tomei or something Aser in it, and you have to do Hagalas Kalim. Who taught those halachos? Elazar HaKohen. What? Elazar HaKohen? Moshe Rabbeinu was supposed to be teaching those halachos. Why did it say that Elazar HaKohen taught them? Because Moshe Rabbeinu got angry. And because he got angry, he lost his Sachma. But he even got angry for a good reason. He got angry for a good reason. Because they did the wrong thing. And he was right. Afal Pikein, he loses his Chachma. Shedavka Moshe Shahaya Miyuchad B'dveikuso Take of Shekas Nistalka B'menu Chachmaso. Because Moshe Rabbeinu got all of his Chachma, everything was from just the Dveikus to a Kadosh Baruch Hu. Just that. To the moment you get Kas, you lose that Dveikus. And that's why he lost the Chachma. That's it. It's not a question of right or wrong. It's a question of pure physics. This is the way HaKadosh Baruch Hu created the world. He created the world with gravity. Things they go up, they come down. This is also physics. You get angry, you lose your chachma. That's the way things work. That's it. So now we're going to tie it into Shabbos. Shabbos Kodesh. Matzanu hadgosha miuchedet lizar min akasa meriva. Dafka on Shabbos, we find a source that a person has to be extra careful to stay away from anger and getting into fights. The Gemara says in Gittin, Hino beitrei de igre b'hu satan de kol beishimshei shel erev Pesach shel erev Shabbos. There was this neighborhood that the Satan would come and cause fights every erev Shabbos. They would be fighting with each other. The Satan would cause this. Just so you should know, it's Kedai. Maybe I mentioned it here before. but it's kedai to know. It's kedai on Erev Shabbos to daven special tefillah. Shachris on Erev Shabbos, I try to do this myself. During Shemona Esrei, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, please don't let the Satan run wild in my house today. Please don't let the Satan ruin things on Erev Shabbos. And part of it is don't let the Satan run wild in my own head also. Don't let him, be getting angry about things, because that's the time. Erev Shabbos is the time. Get people angry. Get people upset. Ikla Reb Meir lohasam. Reb Meir came to this place where they were having fights. And he stayed there for 3 weeks. Until he brought peace between the people. And they heard the Satan saying, Voy da'afki Reb Meir lahi gabra mi beise. Oi, Reb Meir threw me out of the house. The Satan said, Reb Meir brought peace. He brought peace. And that's why things happen on Erev Shabbos. You should know, anything that happens on Erev Shabbos is not your wife's fault. It doesn't matter what happens. It looks like it's her fault. It's not. It's the Satan. The Satan pushed her hand. The Satan made this happen. No, it's not. It's not your kid's fault. It's not your wife's fault. It is the Satan. Anything that happens on Erev Shabbos, just a few weeks ago. What happened to me on Erev Shabbos a few weeks ago? You hear the kids screaming and crying, right? It doesn't really mean anything. A few weeks ago, I heard my son, my little, he just turned 5. Tonight's his birthday. I heard him screaming and crying. Okay, it's about 20 minutes before candlelighting. Okay, he's crying. Fine. I pass him by in the hallway. No, before that, he says, oh, he's bleeding. Oh, okay, he's bleeding already, so then I have to go check it out. So I go and I check, and he's bleeding from his head. I'm like, oh my goodness. What do we do? 20 minutes before candlelighting. Now, here in Eretz Yisrael, we have candlelighting 40 minutes before Shkia. So it's an hour before Shkia. Okay. So our neighbor, the Abrams, I went to Atzala. So we ran over to the Abrams, and he looked at my son, and he says, he needs stitches. Now, the bleeding stopped, but he needs stitches. He said I could do glue, but it wouldn't be the same. You should go for stitches. I don't have a car. Where am I going for stitches? So I tried to get in touch with this doctor and that paramedic, and nothing happened. Nothing's going on. Candlelighting that week was 4:08. I was still trying to reach people on the phone at 4:08. At candlelighting already, I'm still trying to reach people. Yeah, you see what the Satan does on Erev Shabbos? You see? And then my Yeshua came. The Abram's son offered to drive me to Muchedet in Ramat Bet, where they have Arabs that work in case of emergencies. 4:08. On the way there, my daughter also came to keep him calm and move. On the way there, I said to him, look, if it's possible, if you can stay to see if we can do this really fast, otherwise I'm going to have to walk home. I made sure I wasn't carrying anything except for my son's Muchedet card, and I would leave it there. Afterwards, I felt I had some money in my pocket also. I was going to leave it there too. I said, if you can wait, I think candlelighting, Shkia was 4:48, candlelighting was 4:48. And I asked him, I said, if you can wait, I think I said till 4:32 or 4:33. If I'm not out by then, leave. Just go home. Yeah, that's enough time. You'll be able to get home before Shkia. Leave. Yeah? We were back home. We're back home by 4:32. We're back home by 4:32. 4:33, we're back home in the car. We hadn't left at 4:08. We went all the way to Ramat Bet, had the stitches done, and came back in about 25 minutes. Mamish Maisanisi. But why did the whole thing happen in the first place? Obviously, it was Ratzon Hashem, but HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives the Satan, as you see in this story, gives the Satan the right to run wild, to give us challenges. And this is a challenge. The challenge is, are we going to get angry? And as you see, Reb Meir came and saved the day over here. Because of Shlah, HaKadosh, Mesechus Shabbos, Al Kain Aveira Kfulahi, Misha Mare Kas B'Shabbos. It's a double Aveira. Somebody who shows anger on Shabbos, Kvar Nitnu Simonim, Lo Tivaru Eish B'Chol Moshe Rabbeinu B'Yom HaShabbos. The pasuk says you should not bring fire, you should not make a fire on in any of your places on Shabbos. This is the fire of a machlokes, the fire of anger. The Shlah brings this, but it's also, I believe that's brought, the Zohar brings it. The hero's godel, you should be extra careful with this. Michatzois Erev Shabbos. Already from Chatzois Erev Shabbos, ve'elch shehu lamed aleph shos, 31 hours. You should already be careful with kas. From Chatzois on Friday until after Shabbos is over. 31 hours. Lo sivaru eish. Lo sivaru. That's what it means, lo, 31. Don't have that anger for 31 days. I actually just saw this in the learning. I'm learning Sefer Tomer Devorah also. And the Tomer Devorah says about this. He just says, see the Tomer Devorah. So since I saw it, I'll share with you what the Tomer Devorah says. The Tomer Devorah says an amazing thing. He says that Shabbos is mibechinas chesed. Shabbos is constantly giving, or really it's keter. Keter is a higher level. I don't go through the whole thing, but Lamaisa, it's not Gvura. Gvura is holding back Shefa. Gvura is a different midah. He said, if you are noeg Shabbos with chesed, then Hashem is going to pour on you chesed. That's what Shabbos is. Shabbos is chesed. The whole thing, give. But only if you're noeg chesed. Only if you're acting in that way. If you're acting with kas, you're not acting with the midah of chesed. And then you're not going to get the chesed. It's so hard sometimes. It's mamish so hard because your kids so know how to push your buttons. Wow, right? And it's talking dangerous what they're doing, right? This one hit the other one over the head with this, and the other one's pulling the chair down. He's gonna fall on this one and that one. And you know what? It might be legitimate to get angry, just like Moshe Rabbeinu was legitimate to get angry. But that's it. You lose the connection. It's just physics. You do this, that happens. It doesn't make a difference if there's a good reason behind it. That's just the way it is. You get angry, forget about it. It's over. So you lost the chesed. That's what the Tomer Devorah says. It's really amazing. There's a pasuk in the Torah that says, again, according to the Kubalim, and the pasuk says, don't get angry on Shabbos. The pasuk is telling you that. The ikar in mitzvos ner Shabbos shetakinu mishum shalom bayis. The reason why we have ner Shabbos, the ikar reason is for shalom bayis. There's a whole shtickle Torah on this. Mamish is not the place, but I did a lot of research on this topic as well about what ner Shabbos represents and how does it represent shalom bayis. The Rashi, the Gemara in Shabbos says. The mokum she'ein ner, Rashi says, I should say, Rashi mokum she'ein ner, in a place where there isn't light, ain't shalom, there's no peace. Because somebody's walking, he's going to trip, and he eats in the dark. There's an interesting idea. The person, you need to, in order to really be satisfied from food, you have to see your food. If you're eating without seeing it, you're not going to be satisfied from the food. Somebody's going to trip. This is a simple, there's obviously much more depth to this, but the simple explanation is a person's going to come to kas. The reason we want to have shalom, the person wants to have shalom in his house, we're going to do things that's going to lead to kas, it's going to ruin the shalom bayis. So now here we're bringing back what we discussed in the last few prakim. Shabbos is complete dveikus to the root of who we are. To HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Atzma less leilat migarma kulum, and that's why we're really nothing. We're just being dovek, like Moshe Rabbeinu was dovek to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's what Shabbos is. Shabbos is our opportunity to be completely dovek, that we're nothing. We're only connected to the Rabbeinu Shalom. Through Shabbos, that's what brings out the Shechinah. Just like by Moshe, even a little bit of anger, he already forgot his chachma. That he was very unique in this, that the chokhmah wasn't his, it was all from Hashem. I also saw this in Gemara in Nedarim. It says that Moshe Rabbeinu was up on Har Sinai learning Torah for 40 days and 40 nights. And at the end, he still didn't know anything until HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave it to him as a gift. Now, you could touch that. What does that mean? What it means is he never was made a kinyan himself. Do you know what the gift was? The gift was the dveikus to Hashem. That dveikus is what gave him the whole Torah. Once you're dovek to Hashem, you're part of Hashem. Or if you're part of Hashem, of course I have the Torah. So that means all I am is that bullhorn. I'm that megaphone, the microphone that's speaking out the words of Hashem. Not me, it's Hashem. Memela kol anituk. But if you pull the plug, you're not connected anymore. Kol nituk kal kvar yeshira oto b'lo klum. You don't have anything yourself. And now you're not connected anymore. Kamo kena Shabbos. It's exactly the same thing with Shabbos. That's that clarity, seeing HaKadosh Baruch Hu, connecting to HaKadosh Baruch Hu on Shabbos. But if we're not connected, you're not going to have it. Getting angry is the worst possible thing that a person can do. Do you know why? I'm just totally disconnected. It's not the worst. Obviously, there are tons of other bad things a person can do. But when it comes to Shabbos, the whole thing is be connected. The anger is what takes away that connection. You know, imagine for a second, how easy is it to get angry on Shabbos? How easy it is. Such a simple little things can happen. Oh, somebody forgot and left the light on in the refrigerator. Oh, the electricity tripped. What? You set the air conditioning for what time? At what degree? You turned it on heat instead of turning it on cold? You turned on cold instead of turning it on heat? Oh, I forgot to take the chicken out of the oven. It's still in the oven. You open the oven, the light will go on. We don't have any chicken for Shabbos. A million different things can go wrong. You know how you can know the best. Ask the Shabbos goyim around the neighborhood. See how many things go wrong on Shabbos. But it's so easy, and you know what? The Satan is trying to make this happen already. Erev Shabbos. Erev Shabbos is already trying to put you in a bad mood, trying to make something bad happen. He doesn't want you to have that dveikus to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Now, this might answer a question to a very big question that we have. How is it that people ask, I don't feel Shabbos. I don't feel Shabbos. I don't feel that holiness. I don't feel that specialness of Shabbos. I don't feel it. Right? We spent over 180 pages into this Sefer about the specialness of Shabbos, and yet many of us, and many even sometimes we feel it, sometimes we don't. I just don't feel what's so special about Shabbos. I don't feel it. I feel less kedusha on Shabbos than during the week. I feel better when I go to the Daf Yomi shir during the week. I feel more spiritual about that than I feel on Shabbos. I feel better when I'm davening a regular tefillah during the week than when I'm davening on Shabbos. Why? Lo mi boy mi yom tovim. It's not just that Shabbos is worse than a Yom Tov. Shemargishim behem to'elis atzuma lenefesh. You know, Sukkot, everybody's taking the dalaninim and Pesach Seder, and could feel wow, this is something special. Okay, Shabbos is less than that. El afilu miyamei achol, even on a weekday. Shalom de yeshiva, a person goes and learns. He learns the base medrash. He learns in a koilel. The rov hayom malei toichin shel kedusha. A person is spending his whole day in kedusha. He's learning to say a regular an avrech. He learns 3 sidarim a day. That he feels the kedusha, and when it comes to Shabbos, no kedusha. How could that be? B'Shabbos kol kach karov shu shibud aleinu hayom b'li toichin shel mamish. He doesn't feel anything. He doesn't feel that. How could that be? Aval zeh pesha adavar, and this is the answer. Shayomim toivim benuyim al mitzvos va'avoda miyuchadim la'oso yom. When we come to deal with the Yom Tovim is built off of the mitzvos of that day. So on Sukkot, we have the sukkah. If you're in the sukkah, the mitzvah of the sukkah itself is what's giving you the kedusha. You have the dalet minim. The mitzvah of the dalet minim is giving you the kedusha. You have Rosh Hashanah. You have the special tefillas on Rosh Hashanah. You have the shofar on Rosh Hashanah. You can feel the kedusha that comes from the mitzvos of that day. Vayakhel, and during the weekday, benuyim alasiyas klalos mitzvos ha'torah v'amal ha'torah. And during the weekday, you put on tefillin. You put on talis. You put on talis on Shabbos too. But here you're putting on tefillin. You're going to your regular sidarim. You have your chavrusas, right? It puts kedusha. Even a person who's working, but he's got a sidarim, and he's got morning and night, and sometimes in between sidarim, and listening to shirim on listening to my podcast, of course, right? And lemaisa, yeah, you're getting kedusha in all of those mitzvahs, and you're amelus in Torah on all those days. Nimsa shayamim maleim toichen mikoyach avodas hakodesh behem. Do you know why you have a certain feeling of fulfillment? Is because you taco doing things. You have Torah, you have mitzvahs, so you're getting that kedusha. Masha enkin b'Shabbos, but it's different on Shabbos. Iker ha'agosha hi ashraz Shechinah. Do you know where the kedusha is on Shabbos? It's from Hashem Himself. Wow, that should be overwhelming. I should be blown away by the kedusha of that. She'enu yoim shalanu ela yoim shel Hashem yisbarach, like we said at the very, very beginning of this sefer. Shabbos is Hashem's day. It's not our days. We're guests at His party. It's Hashem's party. We're guests at His party. It's Hashem's day. Even the Nahar Sabbatyon, the river of Sabbatyon that throws rocks all week. Shabbos, it feels Shabbos. No throwing rocks on Shabbos. Gehenim stops working on Shabbos. It can feel that it's Shabbos. Because the heavenly gates are open, and that Shechinah is shining down on us, and Hashem is bringing His presence into the world. And the whole Priya can feel it. But when it comes to a human being, if you remove yourself from it, if you disconnect yourself from the Shechinah, then you're unplugged, you're not working. It doesn't work at all. You get no kedusha at all. And you can even have less than the weekday. Even less, because on the weekday you have other things. Here, do you know what? You have Shechinah, but you don't even have that. Because you're disconnected from the Shechinah. Why am I disconnected from Shechinah? Because you got angry. What do you mean? I never get angry on Shabbos. Ha! If a person would pay attention even, just pay attention. Pay attention the first 2 hours. A lot of times, they can't even go the first 5 minutes. But the first 2 hours, pay attention. How many times something irked you, something got you upset, right? You have to be living as a hermit in a cave for something not to happen. It's a challenge, but that's exactly what the challenge is. The challenge is, no, I'm not going to get angry. It's hard, but once you get angry, you lose that neshama yeseira. That's what it says. That's what the Zohar says. And the neshama yeseira is not going to stay. That extra connection, the connection of the Shechinah, you're just not going to have it. Al-Kain b'Shabbos. Mudgaj kol kach hakesher atamidia bilti nifsaka el hakedusha shelo yeh dvorcha shel Shabbos kedvorcha shel chol. That's why on Shabbos we have this special kesher, with a Kodesh Baruch Hu, or the potential we have it, which doesn't end. That even a person's speech should be different on Shabbos than on during the week. The way he walks should be different. You know why? I'm with Hashem. That's why they say about I think it was about Rabbi Yerucham. Pasuk look different. Pasuk look different on Shabbos. Anything person does, anything you're doing differently is done differently. That's in the mitzvah of remember Shabbos. Zachor is Yom Shabbos l'Kodsho. L'skor tamid the Shabbos. Remember, it's Shabbos. It's Shabbos. Shezeh ikar soidei Shabbos. Do you know what the ikar? Do you know what that secret is? Remember, it's Shabbos. Don't get angry. It's Shabbos. Connect to the Shabbos. How do I connect? Remember, it's Shabbos. Liot kashur v'nidavuk l'Shabbos. That means remind. Hey, it's Shabbos. It's Shabbos. It's Shabbos. All the time. It's Shabbos. It's a hard thing to do because you get distracted in this thing and that thing, and certainly, Rahman al-Islam, when we talk about things that are not Shabbosdik. Certainly you're talking about politics or business or all kinds of other narishkeit which have nothing to do with Shabbos. All of a sudden, it's not Shabbos anymore. When we're connected to Shabbos, we're connected to the source of all life, to the HaKadosh Baruch Hu himself. If there's even for a moment you're separated, it's over. One moment, done, finished. Rak in bechol rega, if every moment, if in your mind I'm connected to Shabbos, this is the Eitzah. It's hard, but all the time, starting from the beginning of Shabbos, a person can train themselves. The first 5 minutes, don't get distracted by something else. Don't get upset about something. 5 minutes. Hold on. Shabbos. That's how we're daven to the mukor of the kedusha. Shechinah kadoshi is baruch le'zala. That's how we need to do it. That's the Eitzah. Don't get angry. Think. This is Shabbos. This is where I am. I'm in Shabbos. Okay, shkoyach.
Thank you for joining Real Judaism, where we explore Torah's wisdom for real life. Created by J Foundations and produced by Eli Podcast Productions. Find more episodes at realjudaism.org and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts.